pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes. You all received copies of there was a couple of special. Have them all up to date on all the others? Just the one. Okay. Just the second meeting in February. Any additions or corrections to that? Seeing none, they will stand approved as presented. Excuse me. Current financial report. You all received a copy of the current financial report from the auditor. Do I have a motion to accept that?
So moved.
Motion, Mrs. Howdy-Shell, to accept the current financial report from the auditor's office. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Hensley?
Yes.
Howdishell?
Yes.
Approval of the agenda. A note, I think the clerk was able to maybe hand correct some of the information. Under the public hearing, it says Wayne Healthcare revenue bonds, and it should be Brethren Retirement Community revenue bonds. So that's just a typo, if you will, financial, or that public hearing notice. And then under committee reports, the Finance Committee has requested the report be pulled and not submitted tonight or considered, so that will be placed on hold and returned back to the Finance Committee. I have nothing else to add under on the agenda at this time, or take away.
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Motion by Mr. Schmidt to approve the agenda as amended. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Hensley?
Yes.
Howdishell?
Yes.
Okay, under the public hearing, we do have one scheduled, and that is the Brethren Retirement Community Revenue Bonds that had been presented and advertised, and you want to read the information there.
Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the City Council of the City of Greenville, Ohio on Tuesday, March 5th, 2019 at 7:30 p.m. in City Council Chambers in the City Building. This hearing is for the purpose of considering the approval of the issuance of Healthcare Facilities Revenue and Refunding Bonds, Series 2019, Brethren Retirement Community Project. In one or more series by the City of Greenville, Ohio, pursuant to Chapter 140 of the Ohio Revised Code, in a principal amount currently estimated not to exceed $10 million. If the issuance of bonds is authorized, a portion of the proceeds will be used to refund and retire the outstanding principal amount of the adjustable rate demand healthcare facilities revenue refunding bonds, Series 2010, of the County of Darke, Ohio, as previously modified. The proceeds of which prior bonds were used to refund and retire the outstanding principal amount of the county's adjustable rate demand healthcare facilities revenue bonds, Series 2001, and adjustable rate demand healthcare facilities revenue bonds, Series 2004. The proceeds of which original bonds were used to finance the acquisition, construction, and equipping of certain real and personal property constituting hospital facilities, as that term is defined in Section 140.01 of the Ohio Revised Code, located at the retirement community known as Brethren Retirement Community, 750 Chestnut Street, Greenville, Ohio, and at the independent living facility known as Mill Ridge Village, 1000 Mill Ridge Circle, Union, Ohio, including the reimbursement to Brethren Retirement Community for costs thereof previously incurred, finance the acquisition, construction, equipping, renovation, and installation of certain real and personal property constituting hospital facilities, including the reimbursement to Brethren Retirement Community for the cost of a portion of such improvements located or to be located at the retirement community, Mill Ridge, and at the 21.987 acres of land located in the Meadow Green subdivision in the City of Greenville, bounded by Magnolia Drive to the north, Meadow Green Drive to the east, and Westbury Drive to the west. Finance the cost of terminating of one or more existing interest rate hedge agreements, and pay certain costs of issuance of the bonds. The initial owner, operator, or managers of the facilities is Brethren Retirement Community, an Ohio nonprofit corporation. The bond shall not represent or constitute a debt or pledge of the faith and credit or the taxing power of the City of Greenville, Ohio, the State of Ohio, or any political subdivision of the State of Ohio. Interested persons are invited to attend this public hearing and will be given an opportunity to express their views concerning the proposed project. This notice is given pursuant to Section 147F of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 as amended.
Glad we don't have to read that 3 times. Anyone wishing to speak to this issue may please come to the microphone and give your name and address. So,
good evening. I'm Josh Grossman. I'm with Dinsmore and Scholl, and we're bond counsel in this transaction. I have with me John Warner and Carl Eubank from Brethren Retirement Community. I'm not going to repeat what Vicki said because she did a great job, and I don't want to put everyone to sleep. But basically, the city would be issuing this debt on behalf of Brethren Retirement Community. It's not the city's debt. The city isn't liable for repayment thereof. It's all repayable from Brethren Retirement Community's revenues that they pledge therefor. The city is fully indemnified, bears no risks, doesn't affect your debt limitations or anything of that nature. So if anyone has questions or...
I'm still having difficulty digesting all the legalese. I think one of the things that we had discussed previously in council, even to council members, when we were considering this the last time, was if perhaps the city would need to, an emergency situation, to sell some debt on top of this, that we could do that and not suffer any loss by having already maximized this year's bond sales. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah. In one of the documents, it's called the sublease, there's a provision in there, and we ran it by Eric, that basically would allow you to issue what's called bank qualified debt, so you would get to take advantage of the income tax savings for issuing bank qualified debt if the city ran into such an emergency situation. Brethren Retirement Community would pay you back essentially for the savings you would have otherwise had.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from members of council? Well, anyone else wishing to address this issue in the audience? I don't want to just leave it to gentlemen. If anyone wants to ask further questions or have comments, you're more than welcome. If none, I will declare this portion of the public hearing closed. And since we've now held the public hearing, by council rule, that legislation has been prepared and will go on the agenda under ordinances resolution as item number 7. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else wishing to address council may do so.
Jeff Serber, 350 Martin Street. What I'm here to talk to you about is this property, which Steve's passing very beautifully to. I think I only have 8 of them. Yeah, just share. Essentially, so I purchased this property. It is out of the city limits. Most of you would know it. It's 1348 Sater, but most of you would know it as the old rendering plant. I think a perpetual blight on the community. It is my intention to clean up the site and recover the buildings on the site, recondition them. So my question is that I'm asking for utilities. The entire property, entire perimeter contains water, which you can't see real clearly, but all of that outline that's in blue, it's surrounded by water service. And there's actually an easement, a water easement, 10 foot into the property on the east side or the right side, if you're looking at that map. There is sewer on the northeast corner as well. So what I'm asking for, I presently don't have a water service. The water service was from down Sebring Warner from a pump house that no longer functions. So, my request is for city utilities, and I understand I would have to pay tap fees, and that I would pay a higher than normal rate. So, do you have any questions of me?
Even though this is within the city limits,
It
it's
is.
not the city limit, it's not
It is.
in,
Right, even though it's an island, yes. So to that, I approached the trustees on an individual basis, Greenville Township trustees, asking them if they would be amenable to me requesting to annex, and they are not, because there's no job creation. It's not a valuable property. There's nothing much happening on it or anything. So they are step one in the process. So I'm not sure where I would go from there.
You want sewer there too?
Yes, yeah. So my goal is, if you allowed me, to tap in at the northeast corner, which there's a line that comes from the alongside Corning, there on the west edge on Feldner Properties or the Integrity area.
any questions? My inclination right now is to make that as assignment to review that to the Utilities Committee,
Okay.
see where they would like to go with that, and that would be Mr. Godwin as chair, Mr. Wright, and Mr. Hensley.
Okay.
And is there I want to say, a deadline or an urgency? I know sometimes you want to get things done as quickly as possible, but
As if you know me at all, you know I'm an impatient person, but I understand if that's what you have to do. That's what we have to do.
let's see, what are we looking at here? Could you have it by the first meeting in April?
Yeah.
Okay. And again, as all committee assignments, if you get it accomplished before that and want to bring it in the next meeting, you may. Just call the clerk, put it on the agenda.
And if any of you have any questions for me at any time, feel free to reach out to me.
Make sure the gentleman gets the announcement of whenever you hold the committee meeting too.
Jeff,
Yes.
the blue dotted line over on the right-hand side there, side of the blue solid line.
Yeah, so that is the easement. It's my understanding that that was placed in 1998 or 99. It may have been at the time that they annexed the land for EUM when they put in EUM Church. And don't mind the big blue circle that's in this, the bottom left portion of the property. That's not real. That's a byproduct of their mapping system.
Okay. Anything
Okay.
further?
No,
All right.
appreciate it.
Anyone else wishing to address council may do so at this time.
Tracy Trine, 600 Tree Way. Last meeting, there was information brought forward on a revolving loan and grants program. The city of Greenville has participated in these programs in the past. There's been some success and some failures, and I think it bears to be looked at, but as the committee goes forward and studies that, to look at all avenues and make sure that the city is covered in the legislation on that by ample law service, Mr. Brand, so that everything will turn out to be a positive there. And I understand there's a meeting tomorrow morning. I plan to attend, but on another note, when you're talking later on this evening about the redevelopment districts in the downtown area or throughout the city, developing historical areas. And I know the last meeting it was announced about the Sure Shot Tap House that they're looking to redo the building at the end of Broadway, Martin, and Washington Avenue. And at the council special meeting you guys held at the Memorial Hall a few months ago, they were asking questions about, if there's a way to get some of the money ahead of time. Well, council in the past has, through the CIP funds and things like that, taken money and assisted in different type of economic development, whether it be additions at Whirlpool or years ago it was getting things put together for Walmart and Kroger's in that area of development. So you could take money out of your budgets and still work on that. So instead of going through a program of grants or things, if somebody approaches you and say the people with the tap room would like to get consideration for some monies to help with their facade, which is going to enhance the downtown business district. They're going to enhance the revenues for the property taxes, and they're going to have to hire some people, so that you're going to have income taxes. You can weigh that and maybe possibly throw some money there. It's the same thing as if you would, another small business, in fact, there's a couple in town looking to expand that, could have some help. If they have some extra money to put together, they can enhance their plans even more. Small businesses are the backbone of every community. And when you look at it, we're not going to get the big ones. We're going to keep all those small ones. If we can keep them happy and keep them in the community, we're going to keep things growing, whether it's retail, commercial, or industrial. So, when you look at that, I hope you would be open, if somebody comes to you in the future, to be open to at least listen to their proposals and maybe look at the CIP funds and see what's available to assist them. That will help the city get a great reputation for growth and promotion of the community. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think as the council and the committee looks at this, this is not through, what was the other program that we were involved in that was state funded?
CHIP?
CHIP, the CHIP program. This is of our own doing, and so we can set the parameters, pretty much how we want them to safeguard ourselves.
Correct.
The other one, we were kind of locked into their parameters, and now we can do it our way. So thank you for that. Okay, anyone else wishing to address council? Seeing no one moving forward, we will proceed to move the agenda and go on to administrative reports. Mayor Willman.
Yeah, I have a couple of announcements is all. Coming up in just about a month from right now will be the Darke County Sheriff's Department Home and Sports Expo. Kind of a growing event over the last couple of years, so it's be fun to go to. Hope everybody gets a chance to attend. So a lot of people go to that, and it certainly helps the city. So one other thing, I found out here just lately that this year will be the 40th anniversary of the Darke County Center for the Arts. And they're going to have a lot of events this year that'll, they want to let everybody know that that's what's going on this year, the 40th anniversary. So that during their events at the Memorial Hall and several venues throughout the city, the restaurants, there'll be drawings and try to make it a little festive to celebrate their 40th anniversary. So as time goes along, I think in another month or two, I'd like to do something for them, maybe a proclamation or something, or a letter from the council. I think President Burke, you attended a few things with the Center of the Arts. Maybe you can help out and present them with something here one of these days. They have a couple of events in Memorial Hall. They've asked us to stop up, maybe go on stage and give them an award or something, a letter, proclamation, something. So I said it'd be nice to have something from council and not just from me. So with that, I pass.
Thank you, sir. Safety Service Director, Mr. Garrison.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Since it's Fat Tuesday and we need to celebrate yet tonight, we have a few more hours. I will keep my report short. I have two items to discuss with you. The first one being, as you mentioned, the CHIP grant. It is that time of year. The city and the county will partner together with council approval, and we will submit a joint application to the state of Ohio for the CHIP program. And specifically how the CHIP program, if funded, could influence the city of Greenville. The county has designated 4 owner rehabilitation projects and 4 repair assistance projects. But both types of projects have to be homeowner occupied. It cannot be tenant, it's not tenant-based assistance, nor is it monies that could go to a landlord. So it has to be homeowner occupied. The rehabilitation grants would be for a much larger project. If someone was undertaking, say, a bathroom remodel, window replacement, something high dollar. The repair would be a handicap ramp. A repair might be a repair, at least in the county, to a septic system. If they had a septic system that was failing and needed to be repaired, they could use the money for that. So all in all, if awarded, the grant could bring a total of $231,420 to the city of Greenville. The nice thing about the way that the CHIP grant is happening now, and as it happened the last time around, the county is taking on all of the administration. Now, they're paid $82,000 out of the grant funds to cover that administration. In my opinion, it is well worth it. If you've ever dealt with the state of Ohio and this particular program, it is very cumbersome. We are basically, if awarded, we're in a win-win situation. We get to reap the benefits of the grant funding and have no work in the administration. So I'm asking for council approval, pending review by the law director, to present legislation at the next council meeting to move forward with the joint application. Is there any objection to that? Thank you. And then I had the opportunity last Thursday to meet with the park board, and we had a very lengthy conversation about the long-term planning of what the park board has planned for their department, for the future of our parks. And one of the items that we talked about this year in 2019, we have the opportunity to apply for the NatureWorks grant. The NatureWorks grant is a grant opportunity that comes around only 2 years. The last time that this grant opportunity came around, nobody in Darke County applied for it. So the money that was available the last grant cycle has now rolled over into this grant cycle. And for the 2019 grant cycle, there's $58,292 available. $58,292 available. In talking with the park board, one of our biggest needs within the areas of all the parks is the remodeling of our main park restroom. If you've looked at the roof, you see that it has a lot of vegetation growing on top of it. Our stalls are not ADA compatible, and it just needs a overall facelift inside and out. We've talked to Choice One Engineering with helping us to fill out the grant application. This particular project is a little bit different than some of the other projects that we've applied for, in that with a bathroom remodel and dealing with the structure and potentially dealing with redoing the roof structure, we're in need of a structural engineer. And to make sure that we apply for the appropriate amount of money to make sure that we can afford such a project, we need to employ at the beginning stages a structural engineer. And through Choice One, they have submitted a bid of $3,000 to fill out the application and move forward with what's needed on the preliminary as far as structural engineering. So I would like council approval as we will need to request supplemental appropriations in a future council meeting to cover this cost, as it was not budgeted for in the 2019 budget. Questions or comments?
So do you need a motion to that effect?
Kind of an informal approval that this council wants to move forward with the grant application.
Yeah, then it would actually come with the legislation.
Correct.
Okay, that'd be fine. Anyone objecting to submitting the application? Go ahead for there. Okay.
With that, Mr. Council President, I will pass.
Oh, thank you. Law Director, Mr. Brandt.
I'll pass.
Auditor, Mrs. Woolman.
I shall pass as well.
Oh, thank you. Oh, you usually send out a friendly reminder, and we like to mention it. Don't forget the, what is it? Form that we all have to submit, elected officials.
Correct, that's due.
Financial disclosure.
Financial disclosure report, and that's due April 15th for most of you.
All right.
And, I did mine months ago.
Mine's done.
Okay.
Okay.
If anybody needs a copy,
That's why I'm saying it. I'm trying to
Okay.
remind myself.
I
That's
will
what
get
I'm
it-
trying to do.
I will get it for you, but
See,
yes,
Vicki will put it in the minutes and then help you remind it.
it can be done online.
Yeah.
Yes. But about a month left, so.
Okay. Thank you. All right, thank you very much. Moving on, no committee reports under ordinance and resolution. The first is the supplemental appropriations ordinance. Got a sign on there.
An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Greenville, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2019. This ordinance authorizes appropriations to the general fund for utilities law director in the amount of $100, utility civil service in the amount of $50. These funds are needed to cover internet services for the law director and civil service. Uniform allowances fire department in the amount of $3,150. These funds are needed for additional uniform allowance as proposed between the city and the firefighters union. New equipment landfill in the amount of $2,000. These funds are needed to replace a motor at the landfill in need of immediate repair. And to the Waterworks System Revenue Fund for new equipment Waterworks System revenue in the amount of $100,000. These funds are needed for the North Broadway project. To the Stormwater Utility Operating Fund for new equipment stormwater utility in the amount of $79,300. These funds are needed for the North Broadway project. And to the Permissive License Tax Fund for new equipment permissive license tax in the amount of $210,000. These funds are needed for the North Broadway project. To the Wastewater Reserve Fund for capital improvements wastewater reserve in the amount of $250,000. These funds represent a transfer from the Sewage Disposal Fund and are to be used for the Clarifier project. And to the Capital Improvement Plan Fund for New Equipment Street CIP in the amount of $15,000, New Equipment Roadway Construction CIP in the amount of $140,000. These funds are needed for engineering services for the new salt barn and for the traffic poles and signals at North Broadway, Harmon Drive intersections.
Make a motion to suspend the rules of this ordinance and read it by title only, second and third time.
Motion by Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules, read the ordinance by title, second and third time. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Hensley?
Yes.
Addishell?
Yes.
An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Greenville, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2019. An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Greenville, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2019.
Move to adopt the ordinance?
Motion by Mr. Rogers to adopt the ordinance. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Hensley?
Yes.
Addishell?
Yes.
Next, we have an ordinance authorizing a license agreement with Friends of the Greenville City Park Organization for Island Project.
An ordinance authorizing a license agreement with the Friends of Greenville City Park Organization's Island Project. This ordinance authorizes a license to the Friends of the Greenville City Parks in order to make improvements to the island located generally north of Park Drive and east of Harmon Drive. Friends of the Greenville City Parks must have an agreement with the city for the project in order to meet the requirements of their funding source, the Ohio Department of Natural Resources.
Motion to suspend the rules and read this ordinance by title only, first and second, or second and third time.
Mr. and Mrs. Howard to suspend the rules, read the ordinance by title, second and third time. Discussion? Call the roll.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Hensley?
Yes.
Addishell?
Yes.
An ordinance authorizing a license agreement with the Friends of Greenville City Park Organization's Island Project. An ordinance authorizing a license agreement with the Friends of Greenville City Park Organization's Island Project.
Move to adopt the ordinance?
Motion by Mr. Rogers to adopt the ordinance. Discussion? Call the roll.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Hensley?
Yes.
Addishell?
Yes.
Next, we have an ordinance creating the downtown redevelopment districts for the disposal of service payments and approving related matters.
An ordinance creating the Downtown Redevelopment District 1, Downtown Redevelopment District 2, Downtown Redevelopment District 3, Downtown Redevelopment District 4, Downtown Redevelopment District 5, Downtown Redevelopment 6, Dill Oil Downtown Redevelopment District, Front Street Downtown Redevelopment District, and the North Downtown Redevelopment District, declaring the improvement to certain parcels of real property to be a public purpose and exempt from taxation, requiring the owner of the parcels to make service payments in lieu of taxes, specifying the plan for using service payments to promote economic development and job creation, authorizing the execution of an economic development plan, establishing the Downtown Redevelopment District 1 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 2 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 3 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 4 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 5 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 6 Fund, the Dill Oil Downtown Redevelopment District Fund, the Front Street Downtown Redevelopment District Fund, and the North Downtown Redevelopment District Fund for the deposit of such service payments and approving related matters.
Move to suspend the rules, give this ordinance second and third reading by title only.
Motion by Mr. Rogers to suspend the rules, read the ordinance of a title second and third time. You're lucky she didn't smack you for doing that, Mr. Rogers. Look at that, the title of that thing. But we'll go through it anyway. Call the roll, please.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Hensley?
Yes.
Addishell?
Yes.
An ordinance creating the Downtown Redevelopment District 1, Downtown Redevelopment District 2, Downtown Redevelopment District 3, Downtown Redevelopment District 4, Downtown Redevelopment District 5, Downtown Redevelopment 6, Dill Oil Downtown Redevelopment District, Front Street Downtown Redevelopment District, and the North Downtown Redevelopment District, declaring the improvement to certain parcels of real property to be a public purpose and exempt from taxation, requiring the owner of the parcels to make service payments in lieu of taxes, specifying the plan for using service payments to promote economic development and job creation, authorizing the execution of an economic development plan, establishing the Downtown Redevelopment District 1 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 2 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 3 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 4 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 5 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment 6 Fund, the Dill Oil Downtown Redevelopment District Fund, the Front Street Downtown Redevelopment District Fund, and the North Downtown Redevelopment District Fund for the deposit of such service payments and approving related matters. An ordinance creating the Downtown Redevelopment District 1, Downtown Redevelopment District 2, Downtown Redevelopment District 3, Downtown Redevelopment District 4, Downtown Redevelopment District 5, Downtown Redevelopment 6, Dill Oil Downtown Redevelopment District, Front Street Downtown Redevelopment District, and the North Downtown Redevelopment District, declaring the improvement to certain parcels of real property to be a public purpose and exempt from taxation, requiring the owner of the parcels to make service payments in lieu of taxes, specifying the plan for using service payments to promote economic development and job creation, authorizing the execution of an economic development plan, establishing the Downtown Redevelopment District 1 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 2 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 3 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 4 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 5 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment 6 Fund, the Dill Oil Downtown Redevelopment District Fund, the Front Street Downtown Redevelopment District Fund, and the North Downtown Redevelopment District Fund for the deposit of such service payments and approving related matters.
Motion to accept this ordinance.
Motion by Mrs. Howdishell to accept the ordinance. Discussion.
Could you read it again?
You better be thankful you're sitting far enough away. Although I'll watch the gavel, she may throw it in. Motion is to, that's the motion to adopt, right?
Yes.
Okay. Call the roll, please.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Hensley?
Yes.
Addishell?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Okay, next, we have a resolution authorizing contract with Brewbach Construction for North Broadway Improvement Project.
A resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to enter into a contract with Broomball Construction for the North Broadway Improvements Project. This resolution authorizes the Safety Service Director to enter into a contract with Broomball Construction for services and materials associated with the North Broadway Improvements Project.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on this resolution and read it by title only, second and third time.
Motion by Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules, read the resolution by title, second, third time. Discussion. Call the roll, please.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Hensley?
Yes.
Addishell?
yes,
A resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to enter into a contract with Broomball Construction for the North Broadway Improvements Project. A resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to enter into a contract with Broomball Construction for the North Broadway Improvements Project.
Move to adopt the resolution.
Motion by Mr. Rogers to adopt the resolution. Discussion. Call the roll, please.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Hensley?
Yes.
Addishell?
yes,
There.
Did you want some water?
Pardon?
I asked her if she wanted some water.
Okay, next we have a resolution to, for completion of the North Broadway Improvement Project, PID 86288.
A resolution for completion of North Broadway Improvements Project, PID 86288. This resolution authorizes the mayor to enter into a contract with ODOT Urban Paving Program for the purpose of resurfacing North Broadway Street between Main Street and North Main Street, and between North Main Street and Rest Road within the city of Greenville.
Move to suspend the rules and regulations and giving this resolution second and third reading by title only.
Motion by Mr. Rogers, suspend the rules, read the resolution by title, second and third time. Discussion. Call the roll, please.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Hensley?
Yes.
Addishell?
Yes,
A resolution for completion of North Broadway Improvements Project, PID 86288. A resolution for completion of North Broadway Improvements Project, PID 86288.
move to adopt this resolution.
Motion by Ms. Howdy-Shaw to adopt the resolution. Discussion.
When's all this gonna, I know they've been doing some work on the lights and stuff.
This is the third phase of the North Broadway project, which is the resurfacing, and it is all supposed to be done by the end of this paving year.
So, stay tuned.
Stay
Right,
tuned.
okay.
Further questions or discussion? We have a motion to adopt. Call the roll, please.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Hensley?
Yes.
Addishell?
Yes,
Okay. Next, we have a resolution authorizing the agreement to purchase a Sharpie mixer to be used by the Water Department and declaring an emergency.
A resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to enter into an agreement to purchase a Sharpie mixer to be used by the Water Department and declaring an emergency. This resolution authorizes the Safety Service Director to purchase a Sharpie mixer for the Water Department. This resolution has an emergency clause.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on this resolution and read it by title only, second and third time.
Okay, motion by Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules, read the resolution by title, second, third time. Discussion. Call roll.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Hensley?
Yes.
Addishell?
yes,
A resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to enter into an agreement to purchase a Sharpie mixer to be used by the Water Department and declaring an emergency. A resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to enter into an agreement to purchase a Sharpie mixer to be used by the Water Department and declaring an emergency.
Move to adopt the emergency clause.
Motion by Mr. Rogers to adopt the emergency clause. Discussion.
What's the Sharpie mixer? I'm gonna ask. That
This is the
Sharpie?
emergency clause?
Is this discussion and not around the emergency clause, okay?
Yep, I'll wait.
All right. Call roll to adopt the emergency clause.
Rogers?
Yes.
Roger.
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Hensley?
Yes.
Addishell?
yes,
Move to adopt.
Motion by Mr. Hensley to adopt the resolution. Now, Mr. Godwin, your question.
One ask Mr. Garrison with the Sharpie mixer.
So the structures, I would believe, to the west of the building, the above-ground structures look like big clarifiers that you might see at the wastewater treatment plant. Inside those structures are gears and motors and a big paddle that goes around to mix the water and allows the bad things to settle out of our water before it goes through it's the first step in the filtration process. Well, the gears, the motor, basically the innards of that structure failed, and those were put in, I believe, back in the early 90s. So they have seen the end of their useful life. Luckily, we were able to contact that manufacturer, and they still had the drawings for our structures, and they were able to sell us the new pieces and parts to the inside. Our guys will do the installation with a little help of an outside contractor, Three-Way Electric, to hook up the electric portion of it. We've been able to Band-Aid the current mixer back together, but it is a vital part of our filtration process, so we're going to look at making this an emergency repair.
And besides that, I don't think KitchenAid makes anything like that, do they?
They do not.
They might work on that, though. That might be a big project. Okay, so we have a motion to adopt the resolution, right?
Yes.
Call the roll, please.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Hensley?
Yes.
Hottishell?
Yes.
And next we have what is this? This would be an ordinance determining the bonds, revenue bonds, financial assistance in support of the, determine the necessity of authorizing the issuance of the sale of healthcare facilities revenue and refunding bonds. And I think it has an emergency clause, right? Okay, that resolution has an emergency clause.
An ordinance determining the necessity of and authorizing the issuance and sale of healthcare facilities revenue and refunding bonds, Series 2019, Brethren Retirement Community Project of the City of Greenville, Ohio, in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $10 million, authorizing the execution and delivery of an agreement and lease and a sublease in connection therewith, authorizing the execution and delivery of an assignment of sublease to secure such bonds, authorizing the execution of a bond purchase agreement with respect to said bonds, authorizing the execution of a tax exemption certificate and agreement, authorizing a public hospital agency's agreement and other documents in connection with the issuance of the bonds, and declaring an emergency. This ordinance determines the necessity of and authorizes the issuance and sale of healthcare facilities revenue and refunding bonds for the Brethren Retirement Community Project. This ordinance has an emergency clause.
Motion to suspend the rules and read this ordinance a second and third time by title only.
Motion by Mrs. Hottishell to suspend the rules and read the ordinance by title second and third time. Discussion. Call the roll, please.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Hensley?
Yes.
Hottishell?
Yes.
An ordinance determining the necessity and authorizing the issuance and sale of healthcare facilities revenue and refunding bonds, Series 2019, Brethren Retirement Community Project of the City of Greenville, Ohio, in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $10 million, authorizing the execution and delivery of an agreement of lease and a sublease in connection therewith, authorizing the execution and delivery of an assignment of a sublease to secure such bonds, authorizing the execution of a bond purchase agreement with respect to said bonds, authorizing the execution of a tax exemption certificate and agreement, authorizing a public hospital agency's agreement and other documents in connection with the issuance of the bonds, and declaring an emergency. An ordinance determining the necessity of and authorizing the issuance and sale of healthcare facilities revenue and refunding bonds, Series 2019, Brethren Retirement Community Project of the City of Greenville, Ohio, in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $10 million, authorizing the execution and delivery of an agreement of lease and a sublease in connection therewith, authorizing the execution and delivery of the assignment of sublease to secure such bonds, authorizing the execution of a bond purchase agreement with respect to said bonds, authorizing the execution of a tax exemption certificate and agreement, authorizing a public hospital agency's agreement and other documents in connection with the issuance of the bonds, and declaring an emergency.
Motion to accept the emergency clause.
Motion by Mrs. Hottishell to accept the emergency clause. Discussion. Call the roll, please.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Hensley?
Yes.
Hottishell?
Yes.
Move to adopt the ordinance?
Mr. Rogers to adopt the ordinance. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Hensley?
Yes.
Hottishell?
Yes.
Had to find out where the signatures went on this one. Clear up the top of the page. Okay. That concludes all of our ordinances and resolutions. Communications. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I'm sorry. What?
This one.
What's this? No, we're going to put that on hold. Okay? That won't be considered tonight. I'll get to that later. Old business, yeah, nothing under old or new business. Communications.
Monthly reports were received from the Fire Department, Income Tax Department, and Transit Department. And minutes of the Transit Advisory Committee from February 27, 2019 were received. These reports and minutes have been distributed to council.
Anything further? Call down the council.
Mr. Rogers?
I'm going to pass tonight.
Mr. Schmidt?
Pass.
Mr. Wright?
What's going to happen to the shelter house that was damaged by the windstorm?
That will be up to the park board and the park secretary to determine. I know that they've turned in some pictures to the auditor's office and filed a claim. I'm not sure how they're proceeding with the insurance company.
Okay. Then, what about the salt barn? Are they going to be applying to put up a new one?
One of the pieces of legislation that you approved tonight to the CIP was a carryover from 2018 to basically award the money or supply the money that we can move forward with the engineering, with the structural engineer to get the building designed, get it ready to bid, and then it'll be up to this body to figure out when they're ready to bid and how they want to pay for it.
Okay. Thank you. I'll pass.
Mr. Godwin?
This weekend is going to be I'm right, Mr. Burkett, the maple syrup at the Nature Center
Nope, last weekend.
last weekend.
You missed it.
We're off a weekend. Well,
You lost a weekend.
I guess I'll go out there anyway. Really good. Maybe there's some left. But, well, I'll just start off. Hope everybody, glad to see everybody up here tonight. And with that, I'll pass.
Mr. Hensley?
I'll pass.
Mrs. Hottishell?
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. And I'd like to tell Vicki, thank you for your long breathing treatments. And everybody stay warm. And with that, I pass.
President Burkett?
Yeah, it's, I have some leftover cow tongue that we cooked in the log house. If you'd like to stop by, I'll make you a sandwich.
If it's pickled.
I got pickle tongue too. I fixed them all up good. We baked a few things in the Dutch oven and had a good time. And gave out a little sassafras tea, which is a spring tonic, by the way, thins your blood and get you ready to go. So, yeah, it was a pretty nice turnout. They had over 600 people that they had for breakfast, the waffle, sausage waffle breakfast they served Saturday morning. But yeah, hopefully spring is on its way and things are beginning around. So we're looking forward to that. Thank everyone for your attendance tonight, and entertain a motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Mrs. Hottishell to adjourn. Call the roll, please.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Hensley?
Yes.
Hottishell?
Yes.
Thank you once again. Have a good evening.
I don't know.
You're a little behind.
I want to try to get
Oh, my.